Hey Megazord, how you doing?
Great! I can't believe I'm getting a new movie and reboot. Might get my own franchise now.
Yeah, and Bryan Cranston's gonna be in it. How cool is that?
Awesome! We got stuff in common now, and fanboys have a reason to put us in universe. Aren't reboots great?
Oh yeah, reboots are great.
Oh, sweet Moses, not him.
Yeah, buddy, we're all getting reboots. Welcome to the club,
Okay, shit, we get it. You're only here because Steven's gonna do another ear rape thing, but could you please not this time?
No, actually, I'm over here to point out our buddy Daiyujin movies probably gonna turn out like theirs.
Huh?
Over there.
Oh!
It's okay, Megazord. I'm here for you.
I'm not.
Hello, collectors. It's Steven here with a review of the Super Robot Chogokin.
Daijujin!
Or since we're in English and I'm American, the Super Robot Chogokin Megazord. The first mighty Morphin Power Rangers figure to be made by Tamashii Nations, it paved the way for the SH Figuarts. With the new movie being released, I thought why not revisit this figure and take a look to see whether or not it's worth adding into your collection. So let's go ahead and do it. The Megazord here isn't accurate to the source material in terms of sculpt, it actually has a bit of a stylized look to it. This is due to being more so an action figure than it is a man in a boxy suit, and it's also attributed to the fact that this can't combine and transform and all that jazz. The paint looks pretty alright from far away, but don't be fooled. There are some quality control issues when you look at it up close. Oh, and by the way, there are die-cast parts. Not always necessarily for the best, but the die-cast does add some weight. The head looks nice with some pretty intricate paint applications, no real complaints aside from two. One, we have some misaligned eyes, but it's rather slight and I didn't really notice it until I shot this review. Another complaint is to be careful about accidental scrapage on the chin if you rub it against its mighty bosom. The shoulders do look nice, but unfortunately we do have some red paint slop for the lines, and unfortunately this sort of quality control is a common theme throughout the figure. Even the chest, which does look pretty awesome, does have some minor paint imperfections. The wrists carry over the same quality of the shoulders with the lines, but is this paint or are they decals? The world may never find out. The skirt looks solid with the blue triangles, but they're not necessarily perfect, but that's alright at this size. The Triceratops and the saber-toothed tiger for the legs, again, have cool paint apps, but then some parts look like they blend over a bit too much, or had heavily applied spray, or maybe not perfect alignment. Overall, the paint is a bit disappointing when you really look at it critically, but when it's on the shelf or a fair distance away, let's say about 3 to 5 feet, you probably won't notice them. If you're not a stickler for perfections, then these imperfections may not bother you. So on to articulation, and overall some would say that it's probably a little limited and hindered, but considering the design, we get a well-articulated figure. So we have the head, which attaches into the neck on a ball joint, and we can move them around. So again, make sure that you're not rubbing the chin up against the chest piece there, because you will scratch off the paint. And then we have the neck piece, which plugs into the body on a ball joint, so you can really turn the Megazord's head around and get him to look up a fair amount just like that. That's pretty cool. Now we have hinge joints in the shoulders, so as you can see here, some like to call this a butterfly joint, so this way you can pop the shoulders forward a little bit if you want. We have the shoulder pads, which are on hinges, so you see there, you can move them up and down. Then the shoulder configuration is the same. We do have a ball joint where it plugs into the shoulder. So this portion into the body for the shoulder joint. Be careful because as you can hear, that squeakiness is pretty common. My buddy Justin, he reported some squeakiness on his, which is not good because you don't want it to be too tight and snap a joint. But anyway, we do also have a hinge associated there. So this way you can move the arm up and down just like that, independent of the ball joint. Then move the shoulder armor up. We do have a bicep swivel, which unfortunately mine is rather tight. So if I were to go to just move that, I'd move the whole arm, which is not necessarily something I always want to do, but it is the same on both sides. We have double hinge elbows, so we get some real nice movement there, as you can see. Flex that muscle. Now, what's really cool here is you think next up we have the wrist joint, right? No, wrong. We have another hinge right here. Yeah, so it's like a double wrist joint. That's pretty cool. So you can move the Megazord's hand a little closer to his body or a little further away. So this is useful when you're using the shield or something or whatever you would want to. You know, a little forward hand movement when you're using the sword too. But anyway, we do have a ball jointed wrist, which really only acts like a swivel. So that's probably why this extra hinge was added in. Now, we move to the back here. Yeah, we have articulation back here. The cannons. They attach to the shoulder on the mount on a ball joint, so you can spin them around like so. And then they have a hinge, so this way you can move them around like that. So if you want to get the Megazord to fire off his cannons, you can, or its cannons, whichever one you would prefer. So that's pretty cool there. Now, we have a waist joint. It moves. We have a ball joint. Unfortunately, the way that it works is this is basically a little block that's seated in here, and we have the skirt. Yeah, I'm calling it a skirt. And you can't really get too much movement out of there, so you move forward and back. But what's cool, it pops. So we get a hinge, which allows you to move him forward and back even more and turn it from side to side. But again, we still face that problem, which they should have added in a swivel here to increase the range of movement, but c'est la vie. So pop that back in there. We do have hinges on the side portions of the skirt here. Nothing on the back, which sucks. But on the front flaps here, we have ball joints. So you can move those around a little bit. So when it comes to leg movement, which the legs at the hips are on ball joints, as you can see here, straight up. You can move forward and back with relatively no problem. We do have thigh swivels. We do have double hinged knees, which is awesome. So you can get the Megazord to splay out a little bit, which is cool. Now, here's the interesting part here. We do have ball-jointed ankles. As you can see here, you can twist and you can turn the different bottom portions of the Zords around. But we also have pop-outs for both sides. So this way you can get even greater range of ankle rocker movement. Now, what's cool with this, too, is the Triceratops points up for toe articulation. And when we have the Sabertooth, the hands fold back and the head moves. So we get greater range of movement, and if you would really need that toe articulation, you get it. Now for die-cast parts, this is kind of a bummer. The legs down here from the shin beneath, that is die-cast. Nice metal. The hip joints, I believe, are die-cast, which sucks because over time you're going to have loose joints. And I think the chest might have some die-cast parts to it too. I'm not sure where else, but we do get a fair amount of die-cast, which does help in posing in some situations. So if you want to get some really wacky poses out of this guy, you can. So all in all, is the articulation limited? Yes. But for the design, it is absolutely the most you could probably ask for with only minor improvements. When it comes to accessories, they're pretty nice. We get some extra hands, we get the power sword, a mastodon shield, beams for the head, and the super legendary lightning Koto effect part to slide over that sword. Yeah, I know it was cheesy, but I had to do it. The hands that we get are some splayed hands and hands to use the accessories alongside the standard already equipped fists. To pop out the hands, all you have to do is grip them at the base, pull them, and pop the new hands on. Do be careful though, because of the articulation, you may force a joint in the wrong direction, and because we only have a singular ball joint for the hands, you may accidentally snap them. Let's take a quick look at the power sword. It has a nice silver paint application to it with some gold parts to it, which are pretty cool. The handle is a jet black, but do be careful as you slide it into the hand, and over time, paint can come off when you have contact with the hands. So be careful. This is an unfortunate quality control issue. As we take a look at the Mastodon shield, you can see that its paint applications are pretty much on par with the rest of the figure. Nothing really to report here aside from it's a Mastodon head. Now, if you want to get the Megazord to hold them, you kind of figured it out. Just slide them into the respective hands. Now, when we take a look at the lightning cut, or whatever you would prefer to call it, effect part, all it does is it simply slides over the sword. It's made of a nice yellow translucent plastic with some lightning all around it. Last up, we're going to take a look at the head beam, and this is pretty simple. It just fits right on the tip of the crown. It also has 2 points of articulation, so this way you can swivel them out from side to side. Overall, at the end of the day, the accessories that we get are just fine enough, and we get just the essentials. And your size comparison. He's a little small, but at the original MSRP of about 5,000 yen, you can't expect a huge figure. So, buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. The Megazord's looks are just fine with some quality control issues. You really have to be up on the figure in order to really notice. The articulation is pretty much spectacular for the design, and the accessories are just about right. The MSRP through Bluefin was about $60, and for that price point, we get one hell of a figure. While not perfect, it's still very good with some relatively forgivable quality control issues, if you're okay with what you've seen. If you're a Sentai or Mighty Morphin Power Rangers fan, and you're itching for a robot to join your shelf, find it for a good price and you will be happy. The current Amazon going rate is about $140, and I would definitely say it is not worth that much. If you can find it somewhere around $80, that is about the absolute max I would pay. At the end of the day, I really do like this figure. Well, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like, subscribe, and drop a comment down below to share your thoughts. If you're interested in picking this figure up, or others like it, check the description for some cool links to take you where you need to go. Why don't you watch some more videos? Click the annotations on the screen now for more great content. Thanks again, and I'll catch ya in the next video.